All right, everyone, welcome to our 5G Go Zone, where we are all about helping you market and get your app going and moving forward. So, as we always start with the 5Gs, I would like to start with what I am grateful for. And today I am very, very grateful that I have made some shifts, and you'll be getting an email from me on this, but I have moved over to consolidate everything under my CRM. And I've created a new way to access the recordings and the courses, as well as created my own actually branded mobile app that is a PWA. So that's actually what I've got. I've got a new mobile app that I will be sharing with you via email. And that's my gift, because you can access all the recordings from it. We can have the discussion. I moved it off of GuruCan primarily because I wanted to consolidate things together, and I wanted it to be branded to Unleash mobile apps. So that's one thing. And I just literally put the thing together last week, and I'll be sharing that out, which is part of what my give. Now, you from a get are going to actually get an email from me if you haven't already. That's kind of odd. And Tammy brought this to my attention, that the email says you've signed up for. Well, that's everybody. If you got that, I know it looks a little spammy, and I apologize. I didn't realize that the system was automatically going to send that out, but I'll be following up with an email this week. That is how you can access the recordings and the courses. And it said, you've signed up, here's your name, and, here's your username and your email address. So everybody's been popped into these things. You can still access everything on GuruCan if that's where you've been accessing it. I will let you know when I make the complete shift and shut that off. But these are easier to access. They play better, a lot of positives. So for me, it's all about growing, and that's what I want to grow today. So with that, I have one other thing that I want to talk about that we just learned, something that is happening with T-Mobile. T-Mobile they started this a while ago. If you're doing any text messaging, sharing of the app via text or anything, you need to be mindful to not have a short URL. We actually learned this through Lisa's app doing some testing today, that T-Mobile blocks any text message that has a shortened URL. You can send a full URL, like here's the link directly to my Play Store, or here's the link to my website, as long as it's long. But any of the shortened one links or anything like that does not work with T-Mobile. They block the text message, only text message. You can email it, you can do whatever you want. So that's what I've got today as far as getting things started. Lorenzo, you want to give us your 5Gs real quick?
Yeah, it's really funny as you were speaking, I always think about different things, and with the 5Gs today, I think I have 5 gratefuls.
There you go.
I'm super grateful to be here. I'm amazingly grateful because we just finished our first in-person event on personal development with Convergent Seminar. So it's a new business model that I'm involved in. I'm grateful because I'm going to go hang out with my kids and family in California. So I'm leaving Arizona this end of the week. And I'm really just grateful that my life, my business sort of adventures are all coming together. So it's been a good week for that. I've got several apps that I've released and new versions of that. And I think finally, I'm just grateful to be in a space and a time when we can collaborate, daily and weekly and monthly on video tools like this. And so I'm just really happy to be part of this. And so certainly my always give is my time, my energy, my vision, and my intellectual property, which sometimes is good, sometimes great, sometimes, it's okay idea, but the energy is always there to be of service. So I'm just glad to be here. So thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Okay, so on our hotspot today, Janae, got the form that you sent in, and I'm just taking a real quick look at this here and going through what your 5Gs are, that you're grateful for your mobile app, and what you've got is a mobile app, and we kind of would like an update of where that's at. So go ahead and
well, can I interject for a second?
Sure.
Yeah. So this is something that so I don't know if anybody watches the recordings, and we very rarely have time to watch a recorded TV show that we love. But I want to share with those of you there today and others that are watching is Janae and Nancy and I had a really great session last month, and I would love for Janae to speak to this. But what happened is we had some quality times and quality observations, and in a month's time, Janae has made some dramatic changes in both her, I think, mind shifting about how she wants to show up for her app and how she wants to market her app and present that information and create people together. And she did that based on conversations that we had. And what's really important to me is that she took that information and she took action on it. And we now have a new version of information, a new version of way of thinking and speaking. And so I want to honor her with, taking the time to get it done instead of just saying, hey, I'll see you next month. So way to go, Janae.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, Janae, that was fantastic. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Janae? Because I think it was a very powerful session. And if you haven't watched the recording, go back and watch the recording, people, because it was great. It was a deep dive. Ooh. Janae, you're breaking up a little bit.
Go out there and just.
There we go. Okay, you're with us now. Go ahead.
Okay, is that?
Now we got you.
I said, I was just really frustrated about trying to put it out there and share it with people. So I have a meeting scheduled on Thursday after talking with Lorenzo and Nancy, and both you guys encouraged me to create a PowerPoint and get out there and present it to people to start talking about it, to start doing some testing and things like that. So I did create a PowerPoint. I also really friend who a master's in business. So she's actually gonna pretty much come aboard and help me in presenting and preparing for my meeting. We worked on, she helped me with the PowerPoint, and so I'm meeting tomorrow, kind of like some more like about pricing and
hey Janae, Janae, hang on for a second, Janae.
Like that stuff. I'm not.
Janae, hang on for a second. You're really breaking up. Why don't you shut your video off? That might help.
Okay.
Okay. We got you all the way up to the point that you have a meeting tomorrow. You were just finishing.
I'm going to meet with my friend. Is that better? Can you hear me okay?
Much better. Thank you.
Okay. So my friend has a master's in business, and so she works in the field. She's very aware of a lot of things, and I'm like, I know my strengths and my weaknesses. So she's going to come with me to the meetings to help me, capture the things that I need to capture when I'm trying to present and like the comparables and creating like that business plan and different things like that. So me and her meeting tomorrow to talk about that. And then on Thursday, I'm meeting with someone from the Milwaukee Public Schools to talk about the app bill.
Fantastic. So your meeting that you're having, is this, I know you had a connection with one of the schools that was kind of a personal friend. Is that who the meeting is with?
That's on Thursday. And then my friend I'm meeting with to prepare me, we're going to talk about the meeting for Thursday. Me and her talking tomorrow about that. And then Thursday is a meeting with my friend from MPS.
Okay. Is there any way that you can record this so that you can evaluate yourself? Only strictly for you, either your meeting tomorrow or your meeting on Thursday. If you could do a recording so that you can improve for next time.
Okay, I could try and do that.
Mm-hmm. Even if you just record the audio, you don't have to record the video, but even if you do the audio on your phone.
Okay.
And realize that it's strictly for your education, not to share, not to use as a marketing piece, not to use for promotion. It's strictly for you to go back and say, all right, I could say this better. I could say that better.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. Excellent. So, So as far as your presentation go, I've seen it and I think it's really, really good. How is the app itself coming as far as bringing this to life? Are you strictly going to be showing them the PowerPoint? You don't have anything on the app yet to show them, correct?
No, not yet. I think about 2 weeks out for completion.
Okay. Okay. Did you need any other feedback on your presentation right now? Do you have any other questions or anything?
So me and my friend who has the master's in business, we were going back and forth yesterday because Milwaukee Public Schools do a form already, and it's called Career Cruising. And I was explaining to her, like, I have access to Career Cruising to see how much it costs for them to have like the comparable. So we were talking about that, and she was just saying, like, that shouldn't matter. What I need to evaluate is how much it costs me to run my app and, know the value of mine. It was trying to help me shift the way I'm thinking about that. But
okay, you're in a bad zone spot right now.
I know I'm I'm drive off and you guys come back to me.
Okay. We will circle back to you.
I was going to say, it's not a 5G spot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's not the 5Gs here. So Lorenzo, you want to? I'm gonna
put you on mute.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. Lorenzo, you want to explain maybe just a little bit further on the power of why we're having Janae do the PowerPoint presentation, because the app in her is still in development piece, but the power of getting, for lack of interest, and like the circus is coming. Right.
Well, so one of the things that we know, whether you're marketing a product, service, app, or anything, is the need and the ability to create some sort of movement or some sort of following, right? People in social media talk about that all right. How do you become an influencer? You get a lot of people that follow you. Well, when you're building an app or providing a product or service, one of the critical aspects of doing that is getting feedback real time, right? So if you have an idea, you have a strategy, you want to do what we call a proof of concept. And proof of concept applies to many different areas of your life and your business, but especially in business, which is, hey, I want to make this app workable. So when we talked to Janae, and what we really were able to understand is her app was in development and then effectively redevelopment. So what we wanted to make sure and support her on was, don't have take the time lapse between spending money and investing in one version of the app and then taking a second version of the app and then not getting market feedback. So you want to do that in parallel, right? So that really the comments here are, take your idea, make sure that you can do it in parallel, but then you have to have a lower or next level strategy. And that is to work with influencers or people, I call them friendlies in my years of working in software, people that know you, like you, and trust you. And it specifically will give you feedback because they will be honest and sincere in their feedback. So the most important things that we saw with Janelle in her app was the concept is great. The heart-based vision of it is great. But what we didn't have, or what she didn't have, was answers to, well, what's the right price point? How do you monetize it? And how do you connect with other influencers in your community to get that feedback, to start to create the following? So we basically encouraged her and said, look, best case, worst case, you've got a mock-up and you've got a version of the app that's a work in progress, not done, not completely usable. So you don't want to show an app that's not usable. You're going to, you just, there's a lack of confidence there. So get the images of the app, take the messaging of the app, and then start to market that, and to your friendlies and to the initial group. And if I may say this, and Janae, I'm trying to love on you here, so just take this the way it's intended. One of the things that we saw in that conversation was Janae didn't have the confidence, or more importantly, she didn't want to make a mistake. So therefore, she didn't have the confidence, because that's part of her way of being, right? So these are no judgment. We all have our own ways, but some people want to be more perfect. And so what we realized is to help her create the movement that she needed in the following, she actually needed to overcome her challenge of having to be perfect before the app launched. Well, really, so that's really what I was honoring at the top of this call, is not only did she take that action, which as I referred to it as, but then she also took the steps that were necessary to say, I'm going to face one of my fears and put myself out there knowing that maybe it won't work just perfectly. And then these are my words, not hers, but I think she can speak to that. But the reality was, in order to get any kind of progress, you got to put your energy into the right space. So wherever your ideas and your energy goes, your opportunity flows, right? So it's really consistent. So you want to put yourself out there. So again, combination of things that all occurred. And so now she's got, and by the way, she went through iterations on the PowerPoint, and now it's beautiful. I mean, it seems like old school is PowerPoint, but I mean, it's really great. It's got great apps, and the messaging is what was important to me. And she's really brought the messaging in that piece forward. So just a great job. And we all can learn from that, but we all need to do that, especially if we're just marketing a new idea in your app, right? So if you have a new idea, say, hey, I got a new market, a new target audience, or I want to offer a coupon, or I want to do something like that. It's the same idea, get some feedback, get some immediate feedback, because in order to create market adoption, you have to know that you're doing the right things. And the only way to do the right things is try it and get some feedback. So I don't know, I'll close on this. How many have a relationship and when you're not doing something you're supposed to do and you get the feedback immediate? We want the same in the app, right? It's a relationship build. So just know that this process is repeatable over and over again for all of us. Nancy?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I agree with you. App is nothing more than another way to build a relationship. And there's so many ways to get this out here. Lisa, let's talk about your app a little bit. You're about to launch. Well, you're launching. You're ready to get this out to the world. What can you take from this?
Oh my goodness. You surprised me, because we hit our 3-year anniversary on Saturday, and now it's like, oh my gosh. And what I did was I just totally put it in God's hands. I said, I'm just putting it all in your hands. And of course, then on Tuesday, we got to go. So I'm so excited. Haven't even had a chance to process that, because it's like, so Lorenzo's timing and what he just shared is perfect for me to, remember it. I know that he's shared this before. I think it was even May of last year or the year before, that I was making good notes. So I get to dive in again and, get some immediate feedback, build relationships, share. And so I'm really excited. I'm very grateful. So
excellent. In fact, you know what, let's take a minute here and kind of help you brainstorm a little bit about where you can spread your message. Now, one thing that's nice about what Janae created with her PowerPoint, she can use pieces of that on social when she's ready to start going. She may need to tweak it a little bit, maybe, make the image a little different, but she can use that same basic message. And I think what's most important here is that she got a clear, crystal message. And that I think is the most important part. So for you, have you really identified what the message is that you want to do to present your app, to get people to download it? Because there, in my opinion, on, well, just about anybody's app on this call and people who are listening, is that you hit such a wide variety of people. Almost everybody can have your app on their phone and benefit from that. Mm-hmm. So, and real quick, go ahead and remind people what your app does.
My app is called Generating Peace, and it has the peace prayers of all the world's religions. And it's just having peace in the palm of your hand. There's a community involved. There's sharing peaceful experiences, prayer requests. It's excellent if somebody gets stuck, because they can get unstuck really quickly just by tapping in and visiting it. I did share it with I signed up for what some people would call a controversial site, where there's a lot of angry people. Mm-hmm. And I was really moved to do it, and I did it. And so when I like something, I tried to sign up under Lisa Tubal to experience it, but no, it popped up because Apple Generating Peace. Oh my gosh, I have so many people that are starting to follow, at Generating Peace. And it's like, wow, I really know that everybody wants peace. There's just different ways, but that must have been like so intriguing. Otherwise they thought it was probably some, I don't know, but from the quality of the people that are following, it's really neat. So I'm excited to get that crystal clear message. And that's what Maggie and I will be coming up with, something short and sweet, share it via text to, I've probably got about 50 people I want to share it with right away, now that I know everything's going to go through, and then get some feedback. Lorenzo, how do I get immediate feedback from them? Do I, I know that's what's going to build relationships, but if I say, I haven't gotten feedback before. I try to test group, I had 80% sign up, 8 out of 10. Awesome, but they're not participating. They just did it because I'm their friend, so.
Well, I think if I hear your question correctly, what I would encourage you to do, Lisa, is schedule a 10-minute call and be able to prompt them to give you the feedback. But basically, it's going to be, it's sort of a play on our 5 Gs, not the words Gs here, is, what did you get out of the app? Like what was the message that you got that resonated with you? Is there one? And again, both sides of the answer is an answer. Right. So if they say, well, I didn't get anything, then you go, okay. And then you can extend that conversation. But basically just say, what did you get out of the app? And what did you get out of, the vision? Does it make sense to you? Right. Is it easy to use or easy to understand? Is our messaging working? Right. So you're literally just creating inquiry, and because it's conversational, and there's no right or wrong answer, you're just really having the chance to get the feedback. So your job in that, after you've created, and I would always just have a handful of questions. And again, it's a short period of time, because the other thing that's really important when you're working with somebody or individuals, especially at this early adoption level, is you want to respect their time, right? What's the most important and precious thing that we have in our world besides our family and ourselves and us as beings? That what's really important is our time. Because we're fragmented. So honor their time. Say, hey, look, I want to keep this short and sweet, but in order for me to be a leader and follow my passion, I need some feedback. So it would be a great gift to me if you could share your feedback. And we want honest, open feedback, because the only way that we can become better is both in our app business and as humans is to get these kind of feedback components. So I would just open it up with those kinds of things. And I literally would pick a day where you say, I'm going to schedule all these calls. Say I need 10 or 15 minutes, just text me back, right? So you can just say, and pick the spots, and then do that work, and then take a moment at the end of the day, because you're a very grounded, energetic woman. So when at the end of the day, check back, say, now what did I feel out of that? What came out of that, right? There's the analytical side, which some of us have and don't have naturally. And then other people, it's like, I need to process that. So, for you, I get this energy that you're a processor. You want to really kind of feel into what that looks like. And so take the time to basically schedule yourself to get grounded in the morning, do the work, and at the end of the day, and say, what came out of this for me? And that's part of your answers. And then you could say, now, do I need to move forward, or do I get the feedback that that everything's good? And if everything's good, then the next time you do that round with people, or you explore the opportunity, then say, this is the feedback that I've now received. Does it still land with you? And so you're just kind of, what I would call is building that momentum in that wave. And so that you're feeling, now you have a different, and then Janelle, when I talked to her, when we went through, Danae with the last month of exercise where she's doing her PowerPoint, you could feel the energy build in her in terms of confidence as the PowerPoint evolved, right? Well, you want to do the same thing with your understanding in your peace movement. Is am I on mark, and now you can say things a little differently, because you can, as the second round or the second set of activities, you can go down the path of, hey, this is the kind of feedback that I got, and you don't have to name names, but say, and one of these individuals I talked to love this part. Does it resonate with you? And so basically you're validating the validation that you got, and now it creates that momentum, like, oh, this is really working. So now you've got a couple different scenarios where which areas of the app and the techniques that you use, or the way you've displayed it, or the piece messages, which ones are resonating. And now you have more feedback. And then I'll turn it back to Nancy. Then you market to those things that resonate the most, right? So you're really just kind of building an information library. And then as you start to market those, then you have other ways to market. And that's what Nancy's good at.
Exactly. Yeah. And remember this, all feedback is good. It's all good. Just because your audience might say, well, I'd like to see this different, or I'd like to see that different. That's good feedback, because you want to give them not only what they want, but you also want to give them what they didn't know they wanted. You know, we're back to Henry Ford. If we would have asked them what they wanted, it would have been a faster horse. But then look at where things have gone. So all feedback is good feedback. And just because one person says, I'd like to see the button on the left, does not mean you have to completely redesign the app to put it on the left. You have to balance the feedback. Am I hearing that from more than one person? Does that change make sense to me? And realize that you're asking people to be very open with you. And that goes for every and anybody's app. In fact, Tammy, I'm going to throw you into this mix. I think you're at a point where getting feedback from your customers. I noticed when you promoted on LinkedIn towards the end of last year, you ended up getting a lot of downloads, a lot of people who didn't realize that you have the app. Now it might be time to go to your customer base and even do a simple survey, if that's what you want to do on social media or something, and just set up a monkey survey or whatever they call it. I don't know what those things are called, but you get the idea.
Survey monkey.
Survey monkey. That's it.
Yeah.
Survey monkey. And I know Google does it as well. And now that you're out of tax season and getting ready to get into another tax season, so because everybody always thinks accountants are out of tax season, but that's not a true statement. There's always tax stuff going on. What are your thoughts about getting some feedback on your app? And have you gotten any feedback on your app so far?
We have not. And I'm actually surprised that you said that there were a lot more downloads after I posted on LinkedIn and all that, because as I'm listening to everyone else, I'm thinking, how can I get more downloads? Because I've asked my teammates, that when they, through tax season, when they were dealing with their clients, to let them know that we have the app and please download it. They could, like, during tax season, the biggest thing on the app is that they can download their forms to us, and they go to a secure server. Nothing is at risk of getting stolen and all that. And so I'm sitting here wondering, how can I get it out there? But it's good to know that people did download it. And I think it is a good idea to get the feedback and what can we improve on and what are people looking for. And yeah.
Well, and the biggest thing that people forget is once they launch their app, they think everybody's going to just find it. And they're not. You never stop marketing your app. And I know you personally, Tammy, market all the time. It's on your signatures. It's the QR code on your screensaver, right? On the background that you've got. There's a lot of ways. So you talk about it regular. And yes, it is a little hard to get the team, especially when they're focused on just getting the taxes done.
Right. Yeah.
But an email blast, first of all, would be very helpful. But more so, you want to get people involved. And even if they don't use you as the accountant, there are very important things on the app that go for everybody. The biggest thing is the calendar of when forms are due.
Yeah.
You try searching .gov and you're going to get 5 different answers. This is one nice, convenient way. And you should actually, another thing you should do is start doing push notices when those forms are due.
Yeah.
Because that way you are going to get people using the app, and you get the push notice. And now I'm standing there with somebody and it's like, oh, my accountant just told me this. Well, what have you got there? Oh, here, download this app, right? Word of mouth. But I think there's definitely ways for you to get people interactive and to get them involved. You did prove it that when you started to talk about it, people started downloading. You stopped talking about it and they stopped downloading it. Don't feel that you're beating them up too much.
Okay.
Yeah. Do we have other suggestions for Tammy for downloading? I do have one that will apply to everybody, but go ahead, Lisa.
Oh, I'd love to share with Tammy. how to, I wrote down, make this tax season more pleasurable. People are in that consternation mode when they're preparing and, or even thinking about the year, but there's like an opening now. It's spring, there's new life. And it's like, oh, how can we? And to even take that worry off of their mind, that comfort level that you're going to give them a push notice when it's time for this tax form, let us, carry that for you or whatever. I don't know exactly the full business of your accounting business, but it's like, yeah, how could you make it a more pleasurable experience versus,
yeah. I like that, because one of the big ones that we use is we can help you make the complicated uncomplicated, because we'll pretty much do everything. Like, even if you receive an IRS notice, we'll take care of it for you. You don't have to try to sit on the phone for 3 hours with the IRS trying to figure out what it's for, what you need. We do all that for the client. So, but I like that one, make the tax season more pleasurable, because so many people just cringe when it comes to their tax return. So thank you.
And I was going to say too, Tammy, as a business owner, if I had a push notification on my phone to know when my quarterlies were due, instead of trying, my account lady, she's so busy, I usually miss it every time. And I'm like, if it was an app, your app could tell me that my quarterlies are due, or, a couple weeks before they're actually due, just like little reminders like that would be super helpful. I was gonna say, have you ever thought about going to like the tax places and just leaving your little thing that like with a catchphrase or a flyer on there? Because as business owners, like, I know I'm not the only one that don't remember dates about quarterly taxes and stuff like that. Like, I have no idea it was due. So if you had all of that information, I want to download it.
Okay. Yeah, actually, Nancy, I just talked to Luke yesterday about starting to push notices. So we'll definitely get those important dates out there and start doing that.
Perfect.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Yeah, no, happy to help in that respect. Also, you might want to get your app out to a spot, and Janae can actually do an introduction for you if you need it at WIBIC, Wisconsin Women Business Owners. No, not business owner, business initiative. Because Janae works with somebody over there specifically for her business. And this can be something, I don't know if you're familiar with what WIBIC does. Janae, you want to kind of expand on that just a little bit?
Oh, no, Janine and Nate are really familiar with WIBIC. They did our stuff through them. I didn't do anything with them. But I did look at the website when you told me, and it is a women's initiative where they really focus on women and like grants and different things like that. It's a nice website that has a lot of information.
Yep. Well, and maybe Nate could do an introduction, or your sister could do an introduction. Janine could do one, because that way Tammy has a specific person to talk to. WIBIC is always looking for free resources. And basically what happens at WIBIC is that like an account rep is assigned, and then they will share it with all the rest of their account reps and say, hey, here's a free resource. They're always looking for free resources. And they do have a branch down in Racine as well. So, and I personally I want to say, if you look on their website, especially in Racine, you're going to find a course that I did for them, a free resource course on different apps in your business.
Oh,
and so that's the kind of stuff that they do. Unfortunately, I don't have my contact there any longer. I recorded this right when COVID hit. I was actually supposed to go down to Racine and do it live and in person, and then COVID hit, so we switched it to a virtual. And then we switched it to me just recording it and putting it out there, not even trying to have a virtual. It's when everybody was still scrambling, trying to figure out how virtuals were going to work. Now it's so natural, right?
Right.
But even if you reach out to WIBIC directly, their main location is in Milwaukee, I believe. And I want to say you were working with Lynn. Were you not, Janae? Do you remember the name Lynn?
That does sound familiar.
Yeah. I want to say you were working with Lynn. on that. And like I say, I used to have the contact, but I'm not even 100% sure if Lynn is still there. But places like that might help you out. You know, it might work. And think of other business areas. And another spot is business colleges, where, you know, kids love free things as well. And if you get these young entrepreneur-minded people from the beginning, they're looking for accounting business, you know, a business to run their accounting. They're looking for firms. So these are some different spots. And then from a social aspect, you might want to try finding groups that are, now the problem with groups, you have to be very careful that you don't necessarily promote your stuff. However, if you're giving a free resource that's completely free, there are no strings attached to yours whatsoever. It is completely free. It might be a way to help get the word out to other people.
Okay.
Yeah, you actually, I took a minute, I was looking at this while we were there in your analytics. You actually have close to 150 downloads.
Oh, great.
Yeah. And a lot of it came when you started pushing. So that's if everybody takes away nothing from this session today, take away that you have to keep talking about your app and you are not being redundant. People, it takes at least 7 touches for people to get it. You know, I always say repetition is the mother of learning. And that's what this is, repetition, repetition. So we have about 10, 15 minutes left here. Janae, was there more you wanted to talk about with your app now that we can hear you and you're not breaking up?
I was just about to say, I have my best friend works for Milwaukee College Prep here in Milwaukee, and she's presenting at a big meeting coming up with all of the donors for Milwaukee College Prep schools. And the lady who's in charge is her good friend and has been like a really good friend to me too. Our kids went to school together and everything. So she was like, Janae, you could have came to present if that's what you wanted to do. And I was like, oh my God. I said, I am not ready for that. Like, and she was like, I'm gonna be out of town the day that it happens, so I wouldn't be able to go anyway. But I was like, I plan to be ready next year for this meeting, because this is where Milwaukee College Prep gets all their donations for the school. Like, these people fund the trips and like just everything for the school. And I'm like, that is a really good opportunity for my app to get some exposure, even though I want to be at the high school level, but to know that it's big people in the room that might want to invest or like believe in my vision. So I was like, my goal is to be ready next year for that meeting.
Excellent. Well, and the other thing I want you to realize too is that you can present in the summer to schools, because the people who make decisions, they're working all summer long.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Milwaukee Academy of Science, they're administration people and all the teachers to a point, but they're working during the summer, the counselors and the admins and all of that. So, because they are definitely prepping for the following year. So don't lose sight of the summer, because you might actually have the time to get their attention when they don't have students around. So,
Right.
So definitely for that. Lisa, I want to jump back to you for a second on where else you could share this. You know, you could actually create a flyer with the QR code and, you know, going out to the website and leave it at places where people gather, you know, or where people are struggling. Yes, churches, of course, you know, would be the obvious one, but there's other community centers, different places where people are struggling and looking for peace. You know, and even what did you just say?
I said Panera and Starbucks, where people go to just take a breather.
Yes. Have you seen a lot of these boards at different facilities where you can like put your business card up and stuff? And I know that this may sound a little bit out there, or hospitals would be a definite area that you might be able, you know, especially in waiting rooms. And they're always looking for ways that they can share. You have to ask permission. And I think through the hospital setting, you would know who to ask. I think you've had a little bit of experience in that. But even another one is probation offices. From what I have heard, they have boards up that are offering all types of different services, and reach out to some of these places that do Bible studies and meetings and things. We have a business group actually that just started called Encompass. And it's just a bunch of business people who get together who are, it's about faith and using faith in your business and working forward in that direction. So there's a lot out there, in just a simple flyer with the QR code, and let it do its magic.
Sounds good. That's a great idea. You gave me, and thanks for and the Panera and Starbucks. I just never would have thought of that. You're absolutely right, Jenna.
Yeah.
Janae. Hey, Janae, you are ready now. I mean, I can't tell you, it was months ago, I was listening to your presentation. I'm like, you were on fire. You just got to tap into that passion and share oh my gosh, because there's kids that are out there ready now. So you got this. It's okay. I went to Janae.
So thank you, Lisa. I was listening to the radio this morning, and the basketball player Jalen Rose was on the Breakfast Club, and he was talking about his school, and it was like pretty much the same concept of what my app is. And I was like, I think I could reach out to people like that, and because we have the same vision, you know, pushing people to the military and trades and, you know, college, whatever you want to do. And I'm like, it's the same vision, and it's just like, why am I so nervous about talking to people about it? And I want them to idea. So that other part that I just getting out.
Well, and I think for everybody, fear stops you. Is your own fear of rejection. And really, you know, yeah, there's going to be people who don't like your idea. So be it. You know, successful people were not put on top of the mountain by helicopter. And don't ever forget that reaching out to people who might have a celebrity type of a view is, well, they put their pants on the same way. I've given up starry eyes a long, long time ago, because and people do this. They go to a meeting and the speaker, who might be from out of town or something, comes in, and you would think after the meeting, everybody's going to crowd around them, or at lunchtime. I've seen them sitting alone because everybody's afraid to talk to them. I'll go sit down and have a chat with them. Why not? They long for the company. They want that. The other thing too, Janae, you might want to look at, have you heard of Project Pitch It? Okay, they're starting up again. And I actually had one app that won on Project Pitch It, Pump 5. And so it's real. It is very real. But I just saw the advertising for it. For those of you who don't know, in Wisconsin, in the Milwaukee area, they have a Project Pitch It, which is actually a show that is a mini Shark Tank. And they have local people who will do investing, and you do different presentations, and it's down to like 3 or 4 people who actually get on the show. And then they have different prize levels, everything from $10,000 in cash to mentoring to office space given so that you can, you know, run your business, etc. And it's a bunch of local people who we know. I think actually the sponsor this time, I want to say, is David Gruber. So consider that. And for anybody who's listening, look in your own areas and see if there's any other kind of a Project Pitch It or a WIBIC. So excellent, excellent. Well, we've got just a few minutes left. Does anybody have any other comments, questions, things that they want to talk about? Brainstorm ideas.
One thing to be really cautious of for all of us, and I'm talking to myself right now, and that is what I call the IBSC. Is my hand there? That goes yapping in your head. You know, who are you to do this? You're not ready. You know, it's just, and the IBSC stands for Itty Bitty Shitty Committee. Sorry. And so it's just yapping all the time. And I finally figured out how to break it the other day. You know, my greatest teacher is Jesus Christ, JC. So I'll just say, you know, I don't think that he would say that.
Mhm.
you know? So then that's how I know, well, that doesn't sound like something, you know, JC would say, you know? And that's been kind of my guide. You know, it's like when it's encouragement. And I've also been paying attention to that still small voice within that says, hey, give them a call, you know,
Mhm.
be on the 5G, you know, go watch that recording, things like that. I pay attention to those inspirations that are in, you know, in the Holy Spirit. That's just my language, but I just had to share that so that I could hear it.
That's beautiful.
That is beautiful. And the other thing, I'm going to springboard on that because you were spot on. Remember this, what that little voice is telling you, would you call up a friend and tell that to them? You know, Lisa, would you have told Janae right now, you're not ready, you can't do this, you don't have this? If you're not willing to tell it to a friend, why are you telling it to yourself? And you certainly don't want a friend to be telling you. So keep that in mind. If you're not willing to tell it to a friend, then why are you telling it to yourself? So
That's true. I love that.
Yeah. So that's our inspiration of the day. Lorenzo, what else would you like to add?
I think for me, having spent the last 4 days in personal development land, where we were talking about getting clarity of who you are and how you show up, and seeing the basically transformation that has occurred in some of the people. We had about 20 some people there, and you know, just seeing that journey is the journey that we're all on, and I've heard it echoed in different ways here today. And so for me, the inspiration is just keep going, you know, and that positivity it can spread, and personal awareness and personal insight. And it's about choice. And so just our ability to serve and support each other is why we're here. And so this lifts me up by being part of something that I'm just here to give. I like that. Gratitude.
Excellent. Excellent.
We
Okay. Does anybody
appreciate it.
have, oh, go
No,
ahead.
I'm just
Lorenzo.
going to say we appreciate you, Lorenzo, every time. It's just, you always bring so much to the table. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Mhm. Mhm. All right. Does anybody else have anything else today? No, we're good. All right. Look for an email from me. It will have the links to not only the app, but then you can also access everything on a desktop as well. It'll have that. You most likely got an email last week that looked a little strange because you didn't sign up for something, but go back and take a look. Plus, if you didn't get that email, don't worry. The email that I'm sending out will have the link in it. And all you have to do is hit the forgot password and it will help you reset. If you have any trouble with this, of course, you know to reach out to me and I will help walk you through that. So excellent.
Great. Congratulations on getting that done, Nancy. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, all right. Tammy, did you have anything else? You were being quiet on us today. Okay.
Nope, I'm good.
Excellent. All right, everybody. So go off and have an absolutely fabulous day. Bye-bye.
Bye.